wears his Sunday best. Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing up downstairs. Sister's sighing in her sleep. Brother's got a date to keep, he can't hang around. Io's house in the middle of our street. Io's house in the middle of our...
Isles House, episode 9. Ethan, Jack, Rocco, producer Greeny here with you once again. Follow us on Twitter at Isles House. Won't go through the individual handles. You probably know them already. Subscribe, iTunes, Spotify, Audio Boom, fresh to your ear holes every week. Fellas, 10:23 p.m., fresh off a shutout loss against the very much playoff-bound Carolina Hurricanes. A lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings, a lot of banter on Islanders Twitter. I don't know. Let's just get right into it. Jack, you seem angry. Why don't you start?
Yeah, I'm not happy. Another night wasted watching this team, and you knew we were cooked from the start. We were down 2-0 right away. Coach Chekhov's making great saves. Vashing's missing like it just felt like we were never going to score tonight, and we never did. So another shutout, and yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, it just feels like a textbook game for us against Carolina. I know we somehow found a way last time to beat them, but I feel like when I watch the game, as more so in the Trotz era than now, but it just feels like they're a better version of us and essentially our kryptonite.
I mean, I don't think it's like I don't better version of us. I don't know. Like what I guess my biggest pain point here is you say better version of us. What are the Islanders?
Well, right now, I did say Trot in the Trotz era. I felt like
Trotz era.
Yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah.
I apologize.
And now I would just say most teams are a better version of us because they're a better constructed roster. To be honest.
Yeah, so, I mean, here's my biggest issue because I know that as soon as I turn the mic over to Jack, he's just gonna lay into Sorokin and turn this into a bash Ilya Sorokin episode, and has every right to do so.
And he's been waiting on it.
And he has been waiting on it. You could see the steam coming in.
It's not no. It's not just him. Like that would be insane to just think tonight is.
Do I have to do another?
That's crazy. I'm not going to
chat revealed on the Twitter.
I mean, just for once, I would want Jackie hot takes. But like, what does this team do well? They have the worst special teams in the league. They've got an $8 million a year goalie who underperforms. Does Brock Nelson want to score a goal in the month of December? Like Matthew Barzal, okay, I get it. You just had the wrist injury. Like, do you want to score a goal? Like Noah Dobson and Alex Romanov, do you guys want to make a good defensive play? Like, where are the good players on this roster?
Are they mid at being mid?
They're even mid at being mid. Like, again, what is this team's identity? Are they fast? No. Do they have elite puck handlers who are going to just deke you out of your jockstrap every night? No. Are they overly physical? No. Do they have elite positioning? No.
Young with hope? No.
Correct. So, what? You just
what's
hope
to get excited? I agree. Exactly.
They mid their way into a playoff spot in a Metropolitan Division that fucking sucks, and they get destroyed by the Carolina Hurricanes again. Why am I watching?
What's to get excited about?
What is the point?
What's exciting? Exactly.
And this is why it blows my mind that after a game in which the Islanders did not score a goal, and everyone's going to point to the expected goals. Oh, they got goalie, Kochetkov this, Kochetkov that. This has been the fucking same shit for the last 3 years. Oh, they got goalied. They just suck at finishing. Expected goals. Expected by whom?
Yeah, I'm sick of all the expected stats too. Because
shout out Tony DeAngelo.
When push
shout out to him.
Shove, they just do not pass the eye test. And I know Ethan and I are the elders of the group, but for me, the eye test is the biggest thing. You could send me every fucking chart and decimal point you want to fucking send me, but when I watch the games, they fucking stink. They really do.
But here's the thing: like I love numbers. Like I'm a numbers guy.
No, numbers are good, but they're not the be all end all.
Correct. Yes. So when I'm watching this team again,
so they don't pass the numbers and they don't pass the eye test. What do they pass? Nothing.
Well, I actually agree with you guys. I'm not really into the charts, and I go through the eye test also. But
I thought you loved Jay Fresh.
No,
analytics.
I will say, I'm really mad at one Islander right now, and it's number 28. It's Alexander Romanov because he's making me look stupid as the non-chart guy, and he's making Jay Fresh look pretty smart. Because I don't know.
Well, hold on. He's making me look smart also as someone who's just
and
passionate.
Rocco and Rocco as well. So thanks, Romanov, for not showing up. But I do think he's going through some sort of injury. As you mentioned a few weeks ago.
So what? We're just gonna give this guy an injury excuse
No,
every
we're
year?
not
He's
doing
banged
this.
up.
We're
Thank
not
you.
doing this with Romanov, and we're not doing this with the whole team. Injury
Okay,
this, injury
fine,
that. Team
fine.
stinks.
The
Okay,
I
whole
gave Jay
league, the
Fresh.
whole
I
league
gave Jay
plays hurt.
Fresh
The
his.
whole league plays hurt.
I gave Chart Boy Ethan. I gave you guys your credit. All right, he's playing like shit, and he needs to step up. Secondly, Noah Dobson has been so underwhelming this year. And there was just one play tonight where he was 1-on-1 going into the zone, and like, you're expecting something, and he just gets shut down, and it was so ugly. And Carolina has the puck in
And
our
on the
zone
on the
within
goal
seconds.
on the goal where Sorokin gave up the rebound, I mean, he got basically pushed 15 feet
Yeah,
into the crease.
it's so bad.
He's like
Yeah,
Gumby on skates. It's like
He
one touch
literally,
and he
yeah.
just goes flying. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean
It's
the
not
analogy that
pretty.
I've used in the past, he's two kids in a trench coat. He's
Exactly.
he's the noodle in front of the car dealership going like this.
Yeah, it's
Wacky inflatable floating tube man.
I'm dead serious though. At some point, grow up and hit the gym.
I will
it's not
lay
even
into
just-
I will lay into Sorokin in this episode, but I'm
Of
going to
course you
start
will.
We know.
but I'm going to start with everyone else now because I don't want it to.
We're gonna
I
go
don't
through
want,
the 22 men.
No, I just like want to say this too. Casey Cizikas last year, he was asked to play first line minutes, and the first line minutes he played were pretty good and valuable for this team down the stretch. And I don't know if playing on the wing screwed him up or something. I have not seen a player fall off a cliff so fast and so huge so quickly. He is terrible this season, like
Adam Pellick.
reaching unplayable
Cal
levels.
Clutterbuck.
Well, you can give
It's
Pellick
almost like
went
he's in
through-
his mid 30s and we signed him for a little bit.
Yeah,
too
listen,
long.
let me tell you Gen Z people something that you don't know yet. One day you wake up and you're fucking old.
And
Everything
your back hurts.
Yeah. So, you know what? Casey Cizikas woke up for the 2024 season and he got old.
Can I
Got a
just
couple
ask you
And
this?
he just sucks
Running
now.
am-
And
running
there's
around
no coming
after
back
him.
from it.
I get it with a lot of I get it with Nelson, I get it with Anders Lee, but at some point, like, why do we have to watch 82 games after 82 games now of this player being unplayable? And while he's in game 30 of it, where they see it, it's obvious. Why do we have to let every NHL team and general manager see it with their own eyes? Like, why can't we ever get in front of something and just get rid of this player? It's insane.
Because they operate a country club and they don't operate that way.
They're always late to the punch.
Lou Lamoriello has never sold high on anything ever. He's always left holding the bag. That's what he is. He's a retail investor in a meme coin. He's just left holding the bag every single time because he's a fucking idiot. Like the guy has never once had the foresight to get rid of someone when they're very obviously at the edge of a cliff and they're gonna fall off.
You
And
know
this
why?
is why I have such a hard time because I see on Twitter everyone's, oh, Patrick Waugh this, Patrick Waugh that, oh, it's coaching this, it's coaching that. Like at some point, the same thing happening every single year under multiple coaching staffs, you have to wonder, oh, maybe it's just the roster and it's not the coaching. Because look at what Patrick Waugh has had to deal with since coming in. Who has Patrick Waugh, like who can you attribute to Patrick Waugh, right? Like either a young prospect who developed under him last year into this year, or a free agent that you can point to and you're just like, oh yeah, like that's a Patrick Waugh signing. Like
Their
Anthony
assistant
Supposed to be
coach.
Duclair, but we haven't seen him yet.
It's Anthony Duclair. All right, so that's one player. Who
Yeah,
on
that's
who
it.
on the defensive side of the puck can you attribute? Be like, oh, that's a Patrick Waugh guy.
George.
Nobody. Okay, Isaiah George, who came up this year and played decently well for
Hey,
a 20-year-old.
But jury's still out. Jury's still out on him.
No,
Jury's-
that looks
jury's still out.
good. That looks
But-
good
but-
on Wah.
Right. My point is, everyone wants to blame him for this, for that, for them shelling in the third period, for playing a certain style. But the common denominator is the players, because the roster hasn't turned over nearly enough for us to be like, oh, like this guy's got Patrick Waugh's prints all over him.
And also the coaching staff, by the way, Patrick Waugh picked one member of the coaching
Yeah, dude.
staff.
Like
himself.
Right.
what point?
He
At
wasn't
what point
given-
at what point is John McClane going to get the fuck out of here?
Right. Yeah. This is
Or what about
ridiculous. That's a Lou
Tommy
Lamoriello guy.
Albaline, who was a Lou
Yeah.
guy because he had Devils connections from 1993? Like you're telling me that's a Patrick Waugh decision? Give me a
Well,
break.
that's what it is too. When you bring a new coach in here, you should give him the right to create his staff.
And again,
But
I was
obviously, it's
I was
not-
early on the fire lane train. Like I think I was probably one of the first people to be like, get this guy out of here. And I'm like, look at the Giants. Get Dable and Shane the fuck out of here. I'm not gonna shy away from calling for like a coach's job or a general manager's job.
Can we fly a
But
plane?
it's not gonna be as
We
effective,
need the
Greeny.
we need the
I know it's
blimp.
late and maybe, you need a coffee, but
We
yeah,
need
you
the
need
blimp from the
the
Coliseum.
Remax blimp. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But I just can't blame the guy. Okay, again, it's to me, it's like the Ilya thing. Are there certain things I can criticize? Yeah, but there's 50 other things in my eyes that take precedent as issues over Patrick Waugh or Ilya Sorokin.
And you know
That's
what
what
it is?
drives me nuts.
You know what it is with Sorokin too, and it's not a shot at Jack, but just in general. It's like he doesn't get the excuse of one bad game. Like he doesn't get bailed out ever. Where they like the team has a game in front of him and he doesn't have his best game and they win. When was the last time that happened? Ilya Sorokin played bad, but the Islanders still won. When was the last time that happened? Has it happened this year?
Let me look.
If
I
you
mean, I
have to
think like
look, if you have to look, then it's not there.
yeah, like the
I
type
don't
of
know
game
if
that
that's fair, man.
I mean, Jack, go look it up. But the type of game Rocco's talking about are like the Doug Weight games that they win 6-5 or
They
5-4.
don't exist because they can't finish.
Right. And like the only like, okay, they 5-4 to who was it? Ottawa the other day, but that was when they were up 5-1.
Chicago, but yeah,
Chicago, yeah.
yeah,
They
but that
won the
doesn't,
Ottawa
yeah.
game.
But even the goals
Point
when
stands.
goals 2, 3, and 4 that Chicago scored weren't necessarily on Sorokin. Literally, Wad goes to a press conference after the game defending Sorokin for how poorly they played.
Yeah.
So those 4 goals are not on Sorokin.
And
But
Jack,
they actually outscore the opponent to defend Sorokin. It's not even on him.
and all the stats you're looking up, Jack. I mean, I was looking at some of the fancy stats that we hate, but they do tell part of a story. I mean, the team in front of him doesn't perform. I mean,
Here's
he's
my
facing
issue,
more
man.
higher quality shots than most goalies that are playing. That's just a fact.
I think an underrated part about Sorokin is the timing of some of the goals he allows and when they happen. To let that goal go in so early in the game tonight, scoring first in the NHL, I think has been outdated in the level of importance it has. But when you're playing a team like Carolina and you give up a soft goal in the beginning of the game and they just start pouring it on, and you know the way they play, it's just going to make it so hard to come back. So I just have an issue with the timing of the goal. B, I'm tired of like the goal the other day in Chicago that leaks through him. Like I get it. It's gonna happen sometimes, these bad games, but last time we hopped on here, I was singing his praises because he was doing a great job. He was putting together a nice stretch. But when you have a goalie that's Vezina caliber and he starts putting together a nice stretch of games, those games don't just stop and you don't just start seeing these soft goals going. Like this guy just isn't who you think he is. He's a good goalie. He's pretty good. He's nothing special though. It's just it shows. It really does. He never gets hot to the point where he's unbeatable. Like that doesn't exist. He's pretty good. He's not great. He's just not. If he was, then the numbers would back it up. The numbers say he's a good goalie. He's a good goalie.
All right, you want Shesterkin, you're not getting Shesterkin.
I don't want him. I don't want our GM investing 12 million into goaltenders that aren't
That's not
special.
the point. The point is Shesterkin is elite. Like elite.
But he hasn't been this year.
The whole team sucks though.
Sorokin has
Yeah,
better
there's the
numbers
same
than
thing.
Sorokin has better numbers in a lot of these fancy categories than Shesterkin and Vasilevsky do.
On a much worse team. On
Read
Read
a
them off,
worst
dude.
team.
I'm like Mac and Always Sunny. I'm playing both sides, so I always come out on top. So read them
Well,
off.
the expected goals against average for the Islanders is 2.86. Their actual goals against average is 2.71. That's better than both Igor Shesterkin and UC Saros. That's top 15 in the NHL, according to goalies who like actually start.
You have who's number 1?
I don't have all of them. I could not fit them on
No
the
worries.
notes.
No worries.
Goals saved above expected. Sorokin is at 3.2. Andrei Vasilevsky's at 3.5. Shesterkin's at 4.2. That's again top 15 in the NHL in all these categories. High danger save percentage. High danger save percentage. The league average is 807. Sorokin's is 812. And then specifically on the penalty kill, we know how horrible the penalty kill is. Now, Sorokin has actually been at his worst on the penalty kill. That's the main argument you could make. He needs to be your best penalty killer.
He needs a
hasn't been
sports
good.
psychologist.
Yeah, I mean, probably, most likely. But on the penalty kill, the Islanders are 27th in expected goals per 60, which means they give up a million high danger chances. They're 30th, and this is all in the penalty kill, by the way. They're 30th in expected save percentage, which just is absurd, like absolutely crazy. 8.21 is the expected, or I should say 0.821 per 60 is the expected save percentage, which is 30th in the NHL. And their penalty kill is giving up 13 and a half goals against per 60, which if you break it down, it's almost half a goal per game on the penalty kill, which is worse than the NHL. Now, some of that is Sorokin's fault, sure, but the team in front of him is garbage, and they leave him out to dry. And he hasn't bailed them out at all times. But even if he did, his numbers would still kind of look middle of the road just because of how bad the team is. I think that's the point.
It's because he's a pretty good goalie. He's nothing special. I can name you a million goalies right now that have.
But you think
accomplished
Binnington is
more.
better?
Binnington has a Conn Smythe trophy under his belt. He's accomplished something in this league. Like
he's also faced 90% more shots on goal this year than every other goalie in the league. He's faced 631. The league averages for goalies who have played his amount of games is 327. He faces way more shots than everybody else.
Wait. That
the average is what? And he faces
that can't be right.
So
double.
So he's in the 85th percentile for goaltenders that are what will qualify as starters. I don't know the exact number of games started, but the total amount of shots, and this is coming from the NHL Edge website, if you want to check that out. So 631 shots is the total amount that he's faced, and according to that website, it says the league average is 327.4.
The league average for starters.
Correct.
But he started probably the most.
So he's faced double.
Close to it. Close to it.
But keep in mind, I think the Islanders are, if not the most games played, up there.
That's also true.
That's one.
Yeah, but that's not
he's played
out.
more. No, but that shouldn't.
And Varley's been out for so long that they've
Varley
had to ride
out,
Sorokin.
Yes,
so
correct.
Those are kind of skewed.
I wouldn't say skewed. I think that makes it more impressive.
It's insane.
No, but like the
who's got more than him?
Higher he is because of situational as well.
Sure, situational.
Like if Varley's healthy, how many less games does he start? 2 or 3, which brings that number
100%
way down.
100%. But I was what jumped out at me was how drastic it is. Like that's basically
no. I totally understand what he's saying, but I'm just saying because of the situation, I think that's part of the reason as well.
But isn't that another problem?
Because no, it's a big problem because even I think you guys would agree with me. I watch him now, and where at the beginning of the season the rebound control was great. Now it's kind of going by the wayside. Maybe that's fatigue. Maybe it is, it could be a number of things, but the positioning to me is still there. The rebound control was good at the beginning. Now it's kind of a little shaky. And those were two things. Again, I know I keep saying eye test, but from the eye test, the positioning looked better. The rebound control was better. The confidence of when to be aggressive was better. And now I think it's becoming a little shaky because of both him having to play so much and the team in front of him.
Like Jack, I'm sorry to cut you off, Rocco.
No, go ahead.
Like on this Sorokin point, like Jack, if you had to list your 3 biggest concerns with the team, are you telling me that goaltending is in the top 3?
My biggest concerns with the team, no. It's not. That's not my point. My point is that he's a pretty good goalie, but he's nothing special.
You're not as high on him as as Greeny and I.
No, I'm not calling him a
less
fraud.
than Ethan as well.
Yeah, but I'm not calling him like some fraud at the same time. I'm just saying the guy is not. He's nothing special. He's just pretty good. He will be remembered as a pretty good goalie.
Do you hold his cap number against him a little bit though?
100% you do.
Yeah, of course. He's paid to be really, really good, and he's pretty good.
You should have held that against Bailey a little bit more.
If there were any of the elite goalies that you didn't mention them, but the other goalies you said are better than him in your eyes, if you put them on the Islanders, are they performing significantly better than Sorokin?
Yeah, some of them are for sure.
Who?
Let me go through it. Anthony Stolarz, Connor Hellebuck.
Don't tell me you would have Anthony Stolarz instead of Ilya Sorokin, Jack. Please.
Look, man, I made the argument against it at first, but now I'm looking at these numbers and they're not even close. And he's playing in front of the Toronto Maple Leafs, so he gets the benefit.
I wish we were live, like this was a live YouTube broadcast right now, so people could see how Greeny and I reacted to Anthony Stolarz.
Sergei Bobrovsky.
Fair.
Linus Ullmark, Jordan Binnington.
I think Ullmark. I think it was more Boston system for him.
Go look at his stats in Ottawa the last few games. He's been
The last few
cooking.
games or the whole season?
So, take a look at the whole season. It's fine.
All right, I'll look.
Take a look. Bennington. There's more. There's more.
All right, well, we'll take your word, but maybe we
Aiden
should continue
Hill.
the discussion here about the team as a whole.
Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, Shesterkin. There's so many. There's goalies that are just better than him, and it's like it's really frustrating. Like Bennington over in St. Louis, it's the same story as the Islanders. Actually, they give up the same amount of high danger chances and everything, and he makes a crazy amount of saves. Like last season,
They
if you
probably
care
also
about the
score more to bail him out.
goals saved above expected last year, he was fifth in the NHL. And he plays an insane amount of games too. Sorokin has to be comfortable playing this many games. Like, what if we get into the playoffs? You have to
But
play at
that's
least
not
25
But you got to
games.
understand too, Jack, that's not really modern NHL anymore where you just ride a guy for 70 games. It's just not how it goes anymore. No one plays that much anymore.
He should not be playing 70 games. Like, I would have
But,
given
but I'm
Hogberg
saying
a
nobody,
start.
like the pace he's on right now is insane because
it's
Varley's
it's
out and they
ridiculous.
don't trust Hoberg.
They need to trust Holberg because
But
the
they
team might
can't,
play.
Jack. He's not, he's an AHL goalie. So when you're trying to
He's
win
given up
games
a goal. It's
he's
ridiculous.
played 2 periods of
I know,
of
but he's-
nothing hockey when they're already down 6-1.
The guy's close to a full NHL shutout. We got to start the Hogbergler as
I did see the Hogburglar. I like that.
we got to get the Hogbergler going, man.
Anyway, should we go away from the crease now? Away from
Yeah,
the goalies.
please. Yeah.
So
to where?
okay, I got us. So
You got us.
yeah, well, at least the start. Then you guys could jump on. But no, I tweeted something about basically because there's a number of people that are still on, not ready to sell yet. It's not the time, this and that. My question was, and I think you guys will feel similarly to me, is that what's this, even when healthy and at best case scenario, what's this team ceiling? Because if it's not, like if we're in this deep with this many players and the ceiling isn't a potential contender, you sell. No, you have to change. Like this is insanity at this point. It's been so long with the same group of players and we have the same players and the ceiling constantly goes down. So what the fuck are we doing?
I'm joining
They need to
Ethan's
change.
take. I agree with him that it's time to sell Nelson. Something's been way off with him, and
Sell
I
him
would
while he
like
has
to get
value at this point.
get in front
he
of
has
it
not looked
now.
good.
Yeah, get in front of
Is
that
it me or
now.
has he looked like not even by his standards, just generally, just not good?
No, he's been terrible. He does not.
He's
look
like a
right,
step
and
slower. He doesn't get the
Yeah.
shot off.
No, he
He's
hasn't
totally,
looked right.
totally disengaged.
It's
He's
it's
totally
maybe
disengaged.
it's in his
And
head.
again,
Maybe
this
it's in
is-
his head that he's going to get moved.
Forget the head. For like, again, to me, and I had Greeny in like fucking stitches earlier talking about how Lou Lamoriello was like a crypto bag holder
I loved it.
on like meme coins. Brock Nelson is a guy who had back to back 30 goal seasons or just back to back 30 goal seasons. He's going to be 34 at the start of his next contract. He doesn't play an ounce of defense. And your team was not good enough last year, and they're not nearly as good this year as they were last year. And he just missed, like, people keep, every time I talk about trading Brock Nelson, people are in my mentions like, oh, actually, they're going to get better value this year. Really? Really? The guy who's not even on pace for 60 points right now, who hasn't scored a goal in December, and he's coasting his point totals off of secondary assists right now. Who last year you would have been able to say, oh, do you want a 30 goal scoring second line center with a year and a half of control? That's not attractive. An expiring now, what is he going to be on a contender? An expiring 3C or maybe like a depth winger at this rate?
Real talk right now. What's an expected return?
I don't know.
second?
What
I
would you
don't
be
know.
happy with? And like
Multiple first round picks with how stupid.
multiple? No,
I'm kidding.
multiple's not
I'm
happy.
kidding. I'm-
That's
I'm
what
saying-
Greeny would be happy with. They're
Oh.
going to get
No,
even
that was
if they move him,
He was
if they
joking.
move him, they're gonna-
Realistically, what would you expect?
a
first.
second and like a B prospect.
You don't think you could get a first from a good team?
No.
with how dumb these GMs are. Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
I think because of Brock's pedigree and it's just a rental and you could figure the rest out later on from a good team, I think you could get a 1. Like I don't even know if they have a 1, but like Florida Panthers, for example, that could be very well be pick 30 or whatever it is. Like they might be willing to sell 1. You're not going to get a 1
Minnesota
from a
for a
fringe playoff
first.
team.
Bill Guerin loves
They
it.
traded their first. I was for what's his name? Jiricek.
Or what about next year's? I don't even care if it's this year's first. I'll take next year's first round pick.
Right. Well, there's a number, like even someone I was thinking of, like Winnipeg Jets. I actually think Brock's family now resides in Western Canada, so that could be a match.
Let me say this quickly. It is ridiculous that I don't think we're even going to sell these guys because it's
I
just so
agree.
it's so absurd how every team around us in the standings loses every game. The Rangers lost. The Bruins
Did
are
they
about
lose
to
today?
lose.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
they lost
Rangers are
2-0.
they're 3-11 their next 14, and their next like handful of games are against like the best teams in the league.
Well, that's the biggest issue. Where like in order to go to full sell mode, you're almost dependent on the Ottawas, the Pittsburghs, and whatever other teams of the world that just are the most inconsistent teams of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. Like the teams we're competing with
I mean,
are poverty.
I wouldn't have thought Washington would be up there right now, and they look like a team that's ready to stay up there. So I know it's looking really grim for them right now, but I still have a feeling the Rangers turn it around and become like a wild card team. They're too talented. I think they'll make some sort of big trade, and then following the Trouba trade, even if it's just getting rid of Capo Caco, something like that, and it'll get them going. And it'll be their new Trouba throwing the helmet moment, and they'll go on their little run and get eliminated early on.
Sometimes I think like in sports, we just get so used to seeing the same thing. And for us, that's seeing the Rangers be good.
And
I don't
us
know if
be
it's
mid.
gonna. Yeah, and I don't know if that's
Except for the fact that I called the Rangers' demise this year, and like no one seems to remember on this podcast.
Well,
like
I go back.
no one
if
wants
we
to give me
really want
credit.
to
I
go
also
to
said the
back to
Caps
episode-
would be good. No one's remembering that either.
I also
That's
said
true.
Nashville would be bad, and everyone else was anointing
But
But
Trotz.
we all have a good take, and then there's Jack.
yeah, everyone
Hey, I
everyone
said
Jack's
Carolina.
holding
And
back.
then
said
Jack's got
Carolina.
Varley to the Varley Vesna.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
All
I
right,
had
everyone pat
Carolina
on the
being
back.
good. But yeah, good for us for all being right about
Good on
one
everyone.
thing.
Yeah.
Cheers
All
all
right,
around, boys.
let's go to the green room. Greeny, what do we got for some nerd stats this week?
Oh God.
I've got one more thing actually
Yeah,
before we go into
for it,
that.
Jack.
Go ahead.
So Simon Holmstrom has 19 points in 33 games. I was on the record absolutely shitting on the guy. So he's produced for us, period. That is ridiculous. And on top of that, we have Anders Lee at 25 points with 13 goals in 33 games. Now, these two players were probably some of the least expected to perform like that. Can you imagine where this team is if both of those guys played how we expect them to this year? Like, what
It's a
do you
great
think?
point.
What do you think our record would be?
Wait, who is the second one? Holmstrom and who?
Holmstrom has
Lee.
19 points in 33 games, and Lee has 25 points in 33. And I just want to say with Holmstrom, like, we can shit on him all we want, but he's producing at the clip that he's asked to, and we kind of have to lay off the hatred there.
No,
I'll give
he's
it
been
to you.
Ever since I called him ugly.
Yeah, ever since that pod that we were just ripping him, he just went off. We maybe have to rip into everyone soon.
So one positive there for
Bullying
Simon.
works.
And one thing I liked tonight too was even though we played terribly, Kyle McLean was so visibly pissed off by it. The guy was ready to drop the gloves and throw hands. Like it was just nice to see somebody care. And I thought Fashing had a good game tonight. So
McLean's
those
good
two
against the
players.
Hurricanes, apparently. He was really good in the playoffs last year, too.
yeah, hopefully
I think he
Kyle-
was their best player during the, and that's bad because, and that's why they lost because
yeah.
Kyle McLean is your best player during the playoffs, but he was really good during the playoffs. I do remember him sticking out and
one
thinking
more.
he was a fixture after that, which
One more shout out to Kevin Weeks. He was great on the play-by-play tonight, and one of the very few national broadcasters I've ever seen look at the Islanders with the glass half full. So I love that from Weeksy.
well, he used to play for them, so
Yeah, but he's played for the Rangers, Devils. I don't
Yeah,
think people
but-
remember him as an
Well, if
Islander.
he's a tri-state guy.
If we're talking about announcers for a half a second, I can't stand John Butchergross. As much as as much as I like Kevin Weeks, John
I love
Butchergross can
Weeks.
take his chicken parm and shove it. I can't
He
stand
sucks.
it.
I hate him.
Okay, he's just the worst. So if just because we're touching on that,
All right. Now that we had the chicken parm slander, I need to move on.
nothing against
Into the
chicken
green room.
parm. Something
I
something
know.
against something against.
To the green
Oh,
room.
he
All
hasn't
right.
rated my chicken parm, and I'm
This is
So you
true.
know
He goes,
what?
he goes everywhere else on Long Island, but he
Yeah.
needs to make an appearance. But anyway, so a couple fewer stats than we had last week. Still not really any positive stats, unfortunately. But let's start with The Islanders were shut out once again. In case you weren't aware, that's the 5th time they've been shut out. That's the most in the NHL. I'm pretty sure we all could have guessed that without even looking it up, but it is true. They also allowed the first goal again. That is now 8 consecutive games they've allowed the first goal. They are 3-4-1 when
Jack.
doing so.
Jack said it didn't matter anymore.
Yep. I mean,
I think Jack said the opposite, no?
no,
Nuts.
he said, what? Wait,
The first
my
goal doesn't
point-
matter.
my
what
like
did
it
you
used
say?
to.
Jack,
No,
what
my
did you
point
say?
was, I just think in today's NHL, scoring the first goal of the game is less important than it was maybe 10, 15
I think
years
he's right
Oh,
though,
okay.
because of the rate of scoring now. I was joking around with Jack, but I do agree. I think he's right on that.
I actually think he would be right on that if the team in question wasn't the Islanders. The Islanders can't score.
Well, you meant general NHL, right, Jack? Not just the Isles on that.
But the
Total
Islanders
com.
don't. The Islanders don't play. In
Well,
the
the
NHL.
Islanders are an anomaly in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
so.
they do their own thing. So yeah, so they're 3-4-1 in their last 8 games when allowing the first goal. They are 1-8-1 now this year when they trail after 2 periods. So I feel like that was something this team excelled at in the Trotz years. They'd always find ways to come back in games and kind of pull themselves back into it. They don't do that anymore. They allowed a power play goal tonight. Shocker. That is the 12th power play goal the Islanders have allowed in their last 11 games. It is their 6th time in their last 7 games allowing a power play goal. I don't have the league context. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it's the worst in the league. I don't know if that's correct, but it seems like it.
I want maybe something to look up after this, Greeny.
Yeah.
How many games have they played and they not allowing a power play goal? I'd be
Oh.
curious to see that. I don't know if you could get it up quick.
No,
but you have it.
I can get it up quick. I will revisit that. I will get it up
Yes.
quick. But staying on the special teams theme, their penalty kill now has dropped all the way down to 62.8%. They are 44 for 70 this year. They have taken the fewest penalties in the NHL and have the worst penalty kill in recorded history. Not an exaggeration. The worst penalty kill, I think I brought it up on the last episode, was the 79-80 Los Angeles Kings, who are at 68.2 for the whole season. So not in really good company. Switching to the other side of the special teams, the Islanders have now played, this was their 33rd game of the year. They've now gone 22 of those 33 games. That would be 2/3 for the math wizards, where they have not scored a power play goal. That is the most games in the NHL where a team has not scored a power play goal. So that's pretty good. The Islanders have also been tied or ahead in games in the third period. Of course, not tonight, but they've been in close games in the third period in 17 of the last 20 games. Out of those 17 games, or sorry, out of the 20 games, what do you think their record was? Where they have been tied or within 1 goal in the third period in the last 20 games.
What's their record in those?
What is their
14
record?
2-14-6.
Think you went too over there, Jack.
No, so it's I
Yeah.
probably botched the
It's
reading
22.
of the stat. I probably botched the reading of the stat. In the last 20 games, they have been tied or ahead in the third period in 17 of those.
Got it. Okay.
What is their 20 game record over that span?
5-10-7.
I was shockingly close to
Fuck.
what I was going to guess, but that math isn't math.
That's not the right. That's not the
Jack,
right.
what's with
that's
you?
not the
You
right-
doing
Yeah,
22?
It's 20. We need
What?
to. We need
Correct.
to. It needs
Correct.
the total
20,
20.
not 22.
It needs the
Correct.
total 20.
Then my first guess, whatever the fuck it was.
It was 22.
It was
Oh,
22.
shit. 22. The record.
No wonder he hates analytics. He can't even do math.
5, 10, and 5.
7, 8, and 5.
All right.
Four-
So yeah, a lot of
4,
loser
8.
points. A lot of loser points that they're under 500. Last couple of stats for you. This was yes, the goal differential. Okay, so at 5-on-5, I think I've brought it up. Probably you guys have brought it up. The Islanders are actually not like the worst team ever at 5-on-5. They're actually pretty decent.
No, they're a good 5-on-5 team.
Yeah, they've
That's
scored
always been their thing, though.
always.
5-on-5 with terrible special teams.
Always. And this kind of just hammers it home because at 5-on-5, they've scored 58 goals. They've allowed 49. That's a +9 goal differential. That's very respectable. In all other situations, they have been outscored 45-23, including tonight. That's a minus 22 goal differential in every other situation.
And this is where we say everyone could blame the coach or whatever. It's the roster. They're just not good enough. They don't have that much talent. Their defense that used to be good on the penalty kill took a step back. It's just not good enough.
It's true. And
it's the roster.
It is, and it starts with Lou. But I'm not going to keep harping on that. And then the final stat for you, they are now 0-2 this year on games that are on ESPN or ESPN Plus. Unofficially, they are now 0-73-6 in the history of ESPN Plus.
They're like Daniel Jones on
yeah,
ESPN.
They just don't win.
Holy shit.
And I'm telling you, this ties back to my
Jones
original
in prime
point.
time.
This is John Butchergross's fault somehow. He brings out the
he
worst.
He hasn't been around that long.
I
think it's the Islanders' fault.
No, I'm gonna blame him and Lou.
Right.
But yeah, that's it for my stats. I'm going to pull up that stat, Rocco, against. You said it was the record when they don't score a power play goal, or
no? How many games have they played where they didn't give up a power play goal? Because I don't think there's many.
All right, stand by.
In the meantime, do we want to do the questions? Are we up?
Yeah, let's get to some questions.
Okay.
Actually, before we get into it, I pulled it up. This courtesy of Eric Hornick. I'll just read the entire paragraph.
Go for it.
So, for special teams, the Islanders are 8-1-1. I said this last time. When they score one power play goal, they are 4-13-6 when they don't. Then on the other side, when they allow at least one power play goal, they are 8-6-6. When they do not allow a power play goal, they are 4-8-1.
So 13. So more than half of the games they're allowing a power play goal.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's with the least amount of penalties in the NHL.
And they're somewhat disciplined 5-on-5, and they're doing that.
Amazing.
If they weren't, it would be oof. Okay. I'll go from the bottom. Billy Yo 94. How much worse do things need to get before anything resembling a change of a positive nature happens?
They need like a Rangers losing streak.
Like, do any of us think there's a possibility that the trade deadline could come and we actually hear GM change or some sort of massive change? Like, the odds of that to me are like 1%.
If they're out of a playoff spot with how bad the Metro is, then maybe.
Well, I saw your tweet, Rocco. You quote tweeted Arthur because he had kind of a interesting tweet.
There's a number of days off
like
now,
something would happen.
A lot to think about. But I think Staples just going off like the vibes are just so bad right now.
Yeah, Staples doesn't know shit.
Yeah. And anyway, the vibes are so bad and they don't play. When's their next game? Saturday
in Toronto.
That's a pretty long time to just sit on this fucking loss to Carolina. And, I said something you would think after losing to the worst team in the league in Chicago and then going in to play the team that kicked your ass 2 years in a row in the playoffs, they'd have some juice, and they just came up completely empty. I mean, the excuses, I just don't know how many more excuses you can make for them. Next question, Matt C72 Isles. Why do the Isles continue to ride Sorokin when it is clear he is in a slump and letting in bad goals? It is obvious he needs a break. The Isles thrived on having a split start tandem under Trotz.
Bro,
I don't see why we can go with Sorokin plus Hogberg/Varley.
Hogberg stinks, dude.
Is this Jack's burner account?
No, this is Phil's burner account. Hogberg stinks. He's been given limited minutes in games that have been blowouts. Like, you give him a full game against Carolina, they probably lose 7-0. Like,
not fair to write him off like that. Did you think Wade Dublowitz was gonna suck, man? Like, come on, just give him a chance. Just give him a chance.
You know what, Jack? Fine, I'll give him a chance because I think he's gonna get lit up, and if that leads to them selling quicker, then by all means.
Jack, he has a career. He has a career 337 goals against average, and his goals against average adjusted, which compares him to the rest of the league. He's at 112, which means he's 12% worse than the league average goaltender in his.
Yeah, I don't care. Throw the numbers out the window. I'm
we're not a numbers podcast right now, apparently.
No numbers. We want the hog burglar now.
All right, next question.
All right, I'm going to tie these two together. We got Andrew Liberatore and Justin, who's always on our spaces, friend of the program. Andrew asks, who are we selling? Got to think everyone except Barzal, Sorokin, Horvat, and maybe Duclair. And Justin says, two different questions. Andrew, who are we selling? Got to think everyone except Barzal, Sorokin, Horvat, and maybe Duclair. So outside of those four, who would be the top of the list you guys would sell?
My tickets.
Yeah, me too. I'd say like, okay, obviously like our
The
confidence
pending
level in
free agents are the first that have to go, right?
yeah, okay, sure. But no one here is confident the Islanders are going to sell.
No.
But if in this hypothetical, the Islanders were 100% selling, Palmieri is the first to go.
I mean, Palmieri and Nilsson should be equals, right? They're both pending FAs.
No, because Brock Nelson is an Islanders lifer, and this is a country club, and Palmieri
But this is
played
an
for numerous
alternate
teams.
universe where we're selling.
No way.
Right.
I have a great question.
But that's the only thing that's different about the alternate universe is that we are
That
selling.
the country club still exists.
Yes.
I have
Okay.
such a phenomenal question for you, Ethan and Rocco.
Mhm.
Not Jack.
So not
What about
Jack
Jack?
because I pretty much know what his answer is going to be. But in this wild like scenario where Kyle Palmieri gets traded, is there any way this team like just totally folds up shop like the Rangers do because they got offended about how one of their teammates was traded?
That's great
No,
question.
I don't
No.
think
Like
so.
how does
No.
this
I don't
team
think
how
so.
does this team
No,
react?
because
If
the
they're a couple
Rangers was
points out?
different. The Rangers was different because how it was handled with Truba, and it like they made it so public. And Truba's like people want to hate on it or not. Truba's reasoning was actually good. It was like for me, if it's a true family reason, which it was, Ethan and I could say this as family men. Like you
Facts.
respect it. You respect that move. Like,
I have a take on
looking
that.
out for
Greedy.
his okay.
Just
when you-
incredibly disrespectful to Dr.
No,
Kerry
no, no,
Trouba.
no, no, no.
Yes, it was disrespectful, and he's looking out for his wife and his child. And you know what? If I was Truba's teammate, I might have requested a trade. It was so disgusting.
Bro,
But Jack, like-
Drury's the one that gave him the contract.
So
And
Jack,
but
if oh sorry, good. No,
no,
finish.
Drury created that mess. That's what I'm trying to say. Lou's been overly loyal. I just don't see where it would be like, oh my god, I traded this. It would just be like, it's just we're at this point now.
Yeah.
So if it's the trade deadline, and this is your question, Jack. This time for you. If they're 5 points out of a playoff spot at like the trade deadline, where it's like reasonable enough that they could still like get into the playoffs, and then they trade off like a bunch of guys from this country club, where there's still something to play for in the player's mind because they can still get in. How does everyone else react?
I think that the way that you're asking about the players.
Yeah, like
I've got a better question.
will they revolt? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think the players will ever revolt in any situation.
I've got the
actually.
best
And
question actually.
It's because I actually think the Islanders have a group of players that I think handle themselves like true professionals, and I don't think their mind is like that. I think they understand actually that it's a business. I mean, Barzell watched his best friend get traded, Beauvillier, and he handled it.
So did Greeny.
He handled his business, and the whole team watched like one of their favorite teammates get benched for his 1000th game. They kept playing through that. It's a serious point there, though. Like,
No, you're right. No. But as far as the locker room, Jack's 100% right. A guy that's been on the team for so long.
Can I ask my much better question? No offense, Greeny. All right. Mark down this timestamp. So because you have to bleep this, when left for Toronto, the Islanders got better without him. Bill Simmons, Ewing theory. If there was one guy on the Islanders' current roster that you picked to be traded at this deadline that would spur an Islanders like run, like they trade this guy, Ewing theory takes over, and they rip off like a 10-2 streak right after the trade deadline after selling. Who is that guy?
Oh, that's a way better question.
Can I pick
That's
after
a
him?
great question. Kudos to me.
Can
Sorry,
I pick
Rocco.
after Jack?
Yes.
I'm going first. It's one that takes me a second. to
I'm
think
ready.
about.
Mine came to me right away.
You have to go first.
Yeah,
then.
go.
Noah Dobson.
Ooh, I love that. Oh my god, I love that answer.
Good luck, Jack.
All
Well,
right, wait,
there's
hold
two-
on. I
there's two
want
days.
our listeners to reply on Twitter and let us know who their Ewing theory picks are for this team. Dobson's a great one.
There's two data points though that suggest it could be other players, but I personally don't believe
Now
it's
Jack's a
Wait,
data
data
guy.
points?
now he's data
There's
Jack.
two data points. First of all,
Cease and
they've
desist,
lost-
Data Dom.
they- They've lost Barzell for long stretches. Not this season, but they also had that parlayed with like a million other injuries
Don't
this
say
year.
it,
But
Jack.
in years past, they've gotten better without him playing. Well, they haven't gotten better. They played better without him for a stretch of time. Same can be said for Sorokin last year when Varlamov came in and went on an insane run that caused me to lose $75 on his Vezina ticket. So thanks, Barley. Um, who can they trade that would spark a run? It's a really good
It
question.
doesn't have to be a star either, Jack. It could just be a rip the band-aid off guy that just wakes them up. I have another one in mind off the top of my head.
So Dobson's a good answer because he plays on both units that are pathetic on this team. He plays some on the penalty
And it's
kill, he
just the
plays some on
mentality with
power
him.
play.
Like the reason I said that is because the mentality. He's a little too soft. He's a little too slow. He can't really power play the quarterback. Quarterback
Have it.
quarterback the power play. It's late, guys. We're working all day. That's why I said it. That's why I went with him, because I just feel like he's the type of guy that, you take him off the team and they're kind of like, okay, like now it's kind of up for grabs. All these positions you just said that he usually takes up. Now we're for like when Mike Riley's healthy, like he takes that role, or someone at like.
I think Dobson's my answer.
The
But you
answer,
can't copy my.
the
No,
answer for me is
if I go
Cizikas.
first and say
Oh.
Dobson, you have to choose someone else.
That's
answer
not the
for
rules.
me-
I'm the
That's
one who
the rule.
I don't. I
No,
came up with the question.
I came up with the first good answer, so you can't take it.
That's
The answer
bullshit.
for me is Cizikas because he's out there for every other goal.
Jack, that's who I
Okay.
was telling you to take when I
That's
meant
two
rip the
great
Band-Aid
answers.
off.
He's
That's a
out
great.
there-
That's a great question and two
He's
great
out
answers.
I
Good
thought you
answers,
were
Jack.
penalty kill, and also
rebound.
you can
Good
replace
answer.
him. You can replace him at center with an unlikely candidate who I think is Pierre Engvall, and I think Engvall would give you much better minutes at center.
No, you were
You
so
just
close,
ruined it.
Jack.
You
You were
just
so
ruined it, Jack.
close.
You ruined
Jack,
it. Yeah.
you ruined it, bro.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
fine.
Greeny,
I
go.
can't believe
Who's
you
your
pulled
pick?
Pierre from nowhere.
Casey Cizikas is a fantastic pick. I'm gonna go
Yep.
Brock.
But
Because
Brock, it's good.
he-
Go.
he like what has always bothered me with Brock Nelson is when he's not playing well, he always looks like he's checked out. And
But is that
when-
just his face?
Yeah.
no,
it's his
no,
face.
no.
His face.
Yeah, it's a combination of his
He's got
face.
stoner
also
face.
The way that he plays, like he's just like you guys know, like he'll go like multiple games where like
Streaky.
he's invisible. You don't even know if he plays. Like
He's
you genuinely have
coasting.
no idea. Like he coasts, and so many other guys on this team do like the same thing where they're just like passive. And I feel like Jack, like someone needs to fight someone. Like literally, like Brock Nelson, when he like disappears, other guys follow that lead, and he's been here for so long. I just with the choices,
That's a fine
Dobson,
answer.
Dobson and Cizikas, I would pick Cizikas first. Dobson's a great answer. And Brock, I think, is the top three. But Rocco and Jack, I mean, those were the two greatest answers by far.
Great answers.
Yeah.
Great question. Great answers. All right. Let's finish up with a couple other questions.
And we need to
Wait.
see what the Twitter people think. So they better
Yes.
reply.
Yeah, we'll get that up on the pod page. This is kind of a non-Isles question from Justin. If you were a free agent making a trade list, what would be your top 3 and bottom 3 destinations?
Mm,
Take everything into account here.
I think
Not-
Vegas would be my number one.
Vegas would be your number one.
I think
Really?
Vegas would be my number one.
I think Vegas would be a problem for you.
It could be.
Can we take the finances out of the equation?
No, finances count because that was literally what my answer was about.
Yeah, I think Vegas is my number one. Dallas probably my number 2. And then my number 3. That's tough. It's never going to be a Canadian team. It's
So those
never.
now with the
I have
he
my
said
answers.
your bottom 3 too. So would your bottom 3 be all Canada? Because I know mine.
Yeah, dude.
My
I
bottom
think
3 would all be Western Canada. I don't want to be
Yeah.
that far and in a different country.
Canadian taxes too.
Canadian
Um,
taxes. It's all negatives.
Yeah, it's
That's
all
3.
negatives. Yeah, so I would do all right. So my so yeah, Rocco, I agree with you there. And then my top 3 would be Vegas, Dallas, and then I don't know, like
I
maybe
can see you in Nashville.
yeah, dude. I've always sort of like regretted
Greeny's the
not
Nashville
applying.
guy.
Here's the thing: I've always sort of regretted not applying to more colleges down south. So like Nashville, yeah, that would fly. Maybe Florida.
I mean,
Florida
the
or
Florida
Tampa.
teams, both 2 Florida teams are the most obvious. I would
Florida
think.
or Tampa, yeah,
They're
those are good
good.
options. Carolina,
I would never go to Carolina.
yeah,
Yeah,
just because Brindamore's a cuck. But
Yeah, but if you played for them, you probably like them.
I don't know.
I think one that you're missing, Colorado. I don't know if you did you
That's a
say
good one.
Colorado?
Colorado's
I would,
a good
I would like
answer.
that.
I think I would go top 3 that I would want to be is the Tampa, Florida, not counting Isles, obviously, because we'd all probably say Isles because the bias, but Tampa, Florida, and I would say Dallas. And then bottom 3, I'd probably go Calgary, Winnipeg, Vancouver, and I leave Edmonton out just because playing with McJesus would be fun. Jack, top
my
3, bottom 3?
My top 3 is LA. I'm moving there, so why the hell not? Can I pick the Islanders?
Living out in California.
We're not using the Islanders. That's too.
We can't use the Islanders. My
No.
answer was actually going to be my third answer was Colorado. Then, so I'll add Colorado in there. And my second answer, so it would go LA, Colorado 3, and it would actually be Philadelphia at 2. The Flyers.
You
Really?
would want to go to Philly?
Yeah,
He's there right
100%.
now.
There right now. Let me play for Torts.
Jack's the
And
Panarin guy. He signs places because of his significant other.
Philly's pretty good.
You're
No,
a Panarin free agent.
John Tortorella is an
yeah,
absolute
true.
legend. I would love to play for him.
Yeah, you're a Panarin.
I think it's it's Vegas, Tampa, Nashville, with Colorado on the outside, and then the bottom would be Columbus. No interest in going to Columbus.
You'd rather go to Canada over Columbus though, like
100%.
Western Canada.
100%. I would actually go. The
Yeah,
only
I think
place,
so.
actually, the only
No, I'd
place,
rather
in
go to Columbus.
the only place in Canada I would not want to go would be Toronto and Ottawa. Those would be the only
Why
place
not?
I don't.
Ottawa
Toronto
stinks.
at Ottawa. There's nothing
But
to
at least
do.
you're close.
There's nothing to do. The arena's in the middle of nowhere. Shit team, shit owner, no money.
Keep in mind, we're all from where we're from in this scenario too. So we're all from New York. So travel back and things like that, you got to take into the equation as well.
Of
The
course.
Yeah,
3
that's
I
true.
would not want
So
to go
that's where
to
Columbus
are,
is like, oh, I could be back on Long Island in a
All right,
couple
shut up.
hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
the places I'm not trying to go are Vancouver, Buffalo, and Anaheim.
That's
Yeah, but Buffalo and Anaheim.
I've never
would be
been
the
to
other,
Buffalo,
the other
so I don't
two.
want to hate on Buffalo. I'd like to go. I'd like to go to a Bills game.
Oh, I've been there, and I don't want to go back.
All right.
It's
Next
just
question.
It's just Western Syracuse. I did that already.
All right, so we got Dino Dangle. Has Nelly/Palms done enough to get contracts again here this offseason? It's been a bit quiet from them lately.
No.
No, you know the answer is no
Yeah.
too, Mike.
I've seen a lot of people, to go a little further on Dino's question. A lot of people love the scenario of like, well, if they were to take like these big hometown discount, I don't think people realize
No, it's
even if you get them,
over.
but even if you get them at discounts, it's then holding you back from getting others. For
It's
example,
over.
it's over. But in this example, if you trade Palms and trade Nelson, there's nothing saying you can't go out and pay an Ehlers this summer
Yeah, or
anybody
if-
really.
or
just
what
depth, or
people
new
want to
blood.
dream. People want to dream that these extensions are going to be like $3-4 million. I disagree. But even if they were the $3-4 million, like, you know what, $3-4 million a year gets you? Another Anthony Duclair.
Yeah.
And I'm also not gonna like. I'm officially done like predicting free agents coming to the Islanders or saying like, oh, we can go and sign Ehlers. We can go and do that. Like, no,
No,
we're
I'm just
not
telling
getting
you.
anyone.
No, I agree
Like,
with you. That's a hypothetical. We got Duclair, which was nice because the Watt connection, but I forget who said it on Twitter. I wish I could give them credit, but just because they're finishing second for these free agents does not mean we've become a destination. You have to
No,
win a couple
100%.
of them.
But also Patrick Waugh hasn't really gotten a chance to work his magic, so
No, but at the same time, at the end of the day, you're always the bridesmaid until you're the bride.
But according
Sure.
to Arthur Staple, Patrick Waugh has a bad coaching record in the NHL. Apparently,
got it. Thank you, Arthur.
What does he mean by that, though?
In
His
that-
overall record?
in
is
his
there?
article, and so
He won a Jack Adams, no?
Exactly, he won a Jack Adams. He won like
Was that his
55
first year?
games his first year in Colorado. And Arthur Staples saying he has like a sketchy NHL coaching record. Like, yeah, Jack Adams in like 3 years of coaching.
Well, I will say the way he left Colorado, and if you've heard guys on record speak about his time in Colorado, you can say that, but clearly he's changed his attitude a good bit. So I think it's fair to give him the benefit of the doubt. And as Ethan said, he hasn't even been given a chance to work his magic. So give him a decent roster and let's see. I'm not going off this roster with any coach. You could put Barry Trotz back here; they wouldn't be good.
Correct. I do
And
have I do have one more question for Ethan and Rocco because you guys are Giants fans.
Why do you keep leaving out Jack?
Because Jack's a Jets fan in this one.
But why? And my other question is, why do we? You know how bad it is that we keep comparing our hockey team to our football team.
Yeah,
You know how
it's not
bad
right.
that is for our hockey team.
Who wins
go on.
next? Who wins next? Who wins first? Who wins ever? Actually, and
Islanders.
Jack, get involved. Throw the Jets in there too. Of the three teams,
Islanders because they have more than 3 games left.
no, I'm not talking about this year. I'm
What's the
saying
question?
like who.
Oh, the whole thing?
Who becomes a contender first?
Oh, I thought you meant like who
No.
wins the next game.
No,
Oh. I think I saw something that the Mets and Yankees have won more recently than the Giants and the Jets.
believe that.
So,
The Jets won Sunday.
oh, then it's just the Giants. But
It was a big win. in
wait, the
Jackson.
Jets won. That's how little I've been paying attention to the Jets and the Giants. The Jets won.
Yeah, we had a big win.
Oh, congrats on screwing your draft pick.
Thank you. At least Devontae Adams had 200 yards. But the answer to your question,
Good young rookie, that Devontae.
I think I'm gonna go with the Giants. Actually,
Football could turn so much quicker. I feel like if one of them lands
it can.
quarterback,
Yeah,
like
new
it can.
Shador's-
GM, new coach, new
Shador's him.
quarterback, you're good.
if Shador's a guy, it turns
We
quick.
need John Mara and Woody Johnson to drop dead for any shot at relevancy.
And then
So-
the Islanders need some,
Yeah, well,
Maybe
Another
Steve
Luigi
Cohen
go
can buy.
down.
Maybe Steve Cohen can buy the football teams.
and the hockey team.
Yeah, why not?
All right, should we wrap it up?
yeah. Let's
Yeah.
wrap it up, boys.
All right, that's it. Follow us on Twitter at Isles House. Subscribe. Give us that 5-star rating if you listened, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Father wears his Sunday best. Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing up downstairs. Sister's sighing in her sleep. Brother's got a date to keep, he can't hang around. Io's house in the middle of our street. Io's house